Sportin Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.
Welcome back to another episode of Sportin Wales, sponsored by DragonBet. Today we have two great guests. I'm very lucky to have on one of my favourite Aussies in the studio today. Very well known for his moustache, probably the best in world rugby, if I think everyone would agree. Nick White, mate, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if it's the best. I've just persisted, but
in my eyes, it's
a little
the best.
bit, a little bit like my with my wife. You know, persistence beats resistance. Just,
you've done well. You've done well that side, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but,
fair play.
Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm enjoying it here. The sun's out in Wales, so I'm enjoying it.
Good man. And someone else, obviously, who is one of the top journalists in the UK at the moment, isn't scared of asking the tough questions to every single player. Alex Bywater with the Daily Mail. Mate, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Busy time at the moment.
Times, yeah, I was going to say.
Haven't got as good a tash going on but as Nick, but yeah, no, all good. Covering England and Wales, so lots going on. I'm sure we'll get into it in a minute.
Take it easy on me today.
Yeah.
No tough questions.
No tough questions. For anyone who doesn't know, me and Nick spent COVID together, didn't we, up in Exeter Chiefs? Had a couple of kids together, didn't we, at the same time as well?
We did.
Good times. Anything, are those sort of the times you miss, Nick, that extra life down there and
I did, yeah.
Coming back, does that bring back quite a few memories?
It was a pretty special time. Obviously, anytime you're at a place where you win as much rugby as we did down there, it's easy to enjoy. But that aside, like it really was a special period for me, Mel, and our little family. Mainly because of the closeness of what we had down there.
Yeah.
Living in the castle together, you, myself, Greg Holmes, Dave Ewers, Santi Gordero, like we all lived in this like one little apartment. Well, it's Exeter Castle, sounds fancy.
It does sound a lot. When everyone's asked me, where did you live at Exeter? I lived in the castle in Exeter. Yeah. Like, no, seriously? No, we did.
It's hard to convince people. It's like, no, it's just apartments. But what we had there was pretty special. Wake up in the morning, kind of walk out, like you said, we had kids all similar age and, poke your head up and just be like, Cathy, coffee? Down to Boston Legal? Yeah, down we go. So
it's good life, wasn't it?
But it was pretty special. And like I said, obviously that I feel like that kind of did flow into our rugby and we had something pretty special there. So the rugby side was good, off-field was good and, it'll always kind of had, coming back over here does kind of go,
do miss that.
Yeah, I do miss parts of that, but then actually, to be fair, the sun's out at the moment, so can't blame the weather. But when the weather does get a bit grimmer, I do go, that's the bit I don't miss. But
it was a good time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I had barbecues, virtual beer pong, wasn't it? It was because we were in our own little area, weren't we? But we were right in the middle of the city centre, so it was like abandonment, wasn't it? During the COVID time,
it was, and
me and you were training partners when we were at the back. Where we had this big grass, they had this big grass green, didn't they? It was like 60 metres long. And we'd have to make our own training sessions. I was just chasing this gecko around. Like,
I don't know about that. Yeah.
But
hard to keep up with Cathy, but no, it was pretty special. Like we had remember we had that gym set up in the castle.
We did. Dave Ewers bought it.
Yeah, Dave Ewers just brought this. Like we had our own gym membership there. Like it was pretty special. But even before COVID, it was unreal. Like all the boys would want to come use the car park to come into town. Like it just seemed like we were in the centre, the hub of everything that happened in the Chiefs at that time. And it also helped being only 100 metres from the nightclub.
Yeah, that was quite good because we used to have a lot of socials. And there's this place called Timepiece. And literally out there, I don't know if you've been there, Exeter? Oh.
I've been out, but I've heard of it, Timepiece.
You've heard of it?
We go in there and they'd heard us out.
Yeah.
You've been there a few times, yeah. And they'd heard us out and we were so close, weren't we? But Derek, who used to own the castle, would watch the camera footage in the morning, and he'd say it'd take you an hour. It took us an hour and a half times to walk out of Timepiece, which was 20 metres from where we lived, to get through the gate and up into the castle.
Funny
footage.
No, I'd see in the car park. We'd be walking towards home, and then I'd tackle Cathy into the ground and then we'd get up, a bit of a yarn, and Holmesy would be packing a scrum against Cathy, and then I'd be chasing Santi over here. Mate, it took us an hour to get just through the car park to get home.
That was nearly every weekend, wasn't it? 'Cause it was like win or lose on the booze, wasn't it? Near enough at Exeter.
It worked.
It did work. Do you cover much
Yeah,
Exeter?
so I do a lot of the Gallagher Premiership, more so than URC, obviously, in non-international times, so I go down to Sandy Park quite a lot. Bit of a different time at the moment for them. At the moment, it's been a bit of a struggle so far. A lot of boys left, as you know, but so do that as well as the Wales in the international periods as well. So yeah.
So you've heard a few of the stories that have come out of obviously Exeter over the years? Or?
No, nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
You got to look after you boys.
Yeah, good man. Do you remember we had a little bit of a rocky start? I think in my second year there. And we'd lost just a couple of games on the bounce. Lost probably two. Yeah, like maybe even one. I don't know. But it just didn't seem right. And then Jack Noel gets up and goes like, "We're not having enough socials." And I was just like, from where I've come from, super professional. I was just like, I don't know if that's the answer. And he's like, yeah, like, we've just got to get on the beers more. And I was like, look, I'm not arguing. Mate, we went on some run after that.
We did. We won. Every time we had a social, we won, didn't we?
Yeah. You don't lose on a social.
Don't lose on a social. Yeah. That was a saying going into most of the games, wasn't it?
It worked then, didn't it?
It did, mate. Like I said, you don't break, don't fix it. But he actually wasn't wrong. Like, a big part of down there, even the year where leading into the double, we won down there. I remember the theme at the start of the year. Rob was like, "Oh, we've got to connect more." He was kind of in a way saying, "You got to have more socials. Like, got to enjoy it. So you got to enjoy your time," and that kind of lend into our rugby. And mate, it was dead on. Like, we worked hard, we trained hard. It was just about making sure you get that balance of enjoying what you're doing. And no one enjoys it more than Luke Cowan-Dickie and Jack Noel.
I'll tell you, those two are the leaders of that, aren't they? I'll tell you what, I was looking through my phone the other day, and you remember my initiation? You actually filmed the whole thing, didn't you?
Yeah,
and
it's a big no-no.
It's a big no-no, and you got a big fine for that, didn't you?
I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Mate, I had a 20-minute. It was unbelievable. I'd love to just explain what it was, but it's one of them things where you just keep between the guys at Exeter.
That video stayed very like, I had a lot of angry blokes around me straight away there. "What are you doing, mate?" And I was like,
"You just denied." I think you denied.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, nothing, just playing on my phone." But mate, memories for Cuffy, that one.
Yeah, otherwise I'll show you after. Al, obviously, probably quite a few days on the paper front with Wales and England at the moment. What's the sort of consensus of the Wales situation at the moment?
It's tough at the moment, isn't it? Obviously, 10 on the spin after the game against 10 tests, I should say, on the spin after the defeat against Fiji.
Yeah.
It's now as I'm sure everyone knows, sort of the equal worst run in the country's history, which is pretty tough. Sort of the pressure is sort of building a bit on the coaching staff and the players. I think it's tough for the players. Obviously, they've got a young group. I think the Fiji game showed that, I think they're just really struggling to get over the line, which you two know far more than me what it's like. Winning's a habit, but if you're sort of losing these tough games consistently, that can also become a habit as well. Not that you did much of that at Exeter, but it's tough. I mean, I think the Fiji game everyone knew was a must-win, and I think that's why the feeling after it was so low, really.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling after the game. Were you at the game?
Yeah.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? It just seemed to... I expected when we scored, when Alex Bywater scored, to probably go on and win that game, but we just looked really heavy-legged and spoke to a lot of the boys, and I think they thought they might have trained a bit too hard in the week. You know what Gats is like, he does push the boys quite hard, but I just thought it'd be a game, keep the boys fresh and really go after those Fijians. That's usually when you win it, isn't it, Nick, against the Fijian boys. You've played them a number of times, haven't you?
Certainly, the game opens up that last 20. You certainly need your legs in that last 20 against the Fijians. They thrive on unstructured rugby. So, like, if it's structured early in the game, you can kind of somewhat get a handle of them. But, it doesn't matter who you are. The Fijians thrive in that last 20 when those offloads start finding a hand and you've got heavy legs. But, I also think that, in teams I've played in, that you just kind of, like you're saying, that finding a way to win, you just kind of, sometimes you find a bit of extra energy when you know how to win.
When you know how you win, but they're desperate, aren't they?
So it's just also a bit of a mental state that also can look to that, and we've been a little bit a part of that as well in Australia with the Wallabies. So we're starting to come out the other side, but I guess there's one person pretty happy with that streak, and he's probably Steve Hansen. He's probably the only happy bloke. But
does it obviously the win over England, that must have really sort of pumped the tyres of you guys? You have had a bit of a tough time in the rugby championship, haven't you? But it was such a good performance. It was so good to see Australian rugby sort of play in the way that you guys have played historically.
Yeah, it was good to, it was an awesome game of rugby. Like, if you're a fan of rugby, what a game that was. We're just, stoked we've come out on the right side of that one with with Lenny Katau pulling something, a rabbit out of a hat there. The rugby championship, she's tough. Like, you're going up against 3 of the 4 semi-finalists. It's no easy competition. So, it's interesting. Like, England play New Zealand 4 times. It's sort of like, welcome to our life.
Yeah.
We do that every year. You know what I mean? So
you forget that, don't you?
We play New Zealand 2 or 3 times every year. South Africa, twice a year, and then Argentina. Like, how good have they gotten? So I think it's good for us, but it can sometimes put yourself in a little bit of an unrealistic view of where you are at the moment. So people can go like, there's a few losses on the bounce, but you're playing against the best, outside of probably Ireland. So for the boys to then come up and get a bit of confidence out of that game, I think is awesome, because that very quickly could have went the other way, and it could have been a very different week this week. Could have been a different sheds, but I'm glad there's a lot of work being going into kind of the transformation of what we're going, and a lot of work to go. Like, but I don't want to take anything off England, but that's still, we only just scraped it against England. Great game of rugby, but it's a far cry from the likes of South Africa and New Zealand, what we're coming up against, and Scotland at the moment playing some amazing football. Ireland, we're not too dissimilar position to where Wales are. We've got a few more wins in a different position, but I'm not sitting here. I don't think anybody in our camp sitting there thinking high and mighty and we're well above it. Like, we're not. Yeah. Like, there's an unbelievable respect, because
not the Aussie way, is it?
We have been right there, with them and gone through an incredibly tough couple of years. So, look, we know, 1, that it can change really quickly, and 2, how desperate they will be on the weekend to right that. But back to your question, sheds in the weekend after beating England, pretty good, especially after a few comments that were made in that week.
Oh, is that a few comments motivated you that week in terms of, I guess you celebrated as well?
Yeah, I think a few boys kind of let that one out. But you were a bit disappointed in what Ben Young said.
Right.
One around the Lions tour, and then to back it up in the week leading up to the England game, to just mention I think there's a way in which he could have said what he probably wanted to say without, kind of jamming it down our throats, saying we're, don't waste our time, and, is there any point the Lions even going to Australia? Like, those comments hurt. Like, we know the game's, like I said, we've been in a tough spot the last couple of years, and
that's disrespecting the sort of Australian character, really, isn't it? A little bit, because you guys are, for me, Australians are the toughest people in terms of mentality-wise. Mm-hmm. And I know you've had your hard times, but to say what he said in terms of the Lions tour be a joke, and you guys are never going to be. That's never ever going to happen. When has that ever happened? So I thought it pretty disrespectful.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm glad you've done one up on them as well.
Yeah, well, it certainly did help. But again, we don't want to scoop to that level either. Like, we spoke about the respect that we want, and that'll come from the respect we give. So, again, going back to the respect for where Wales are, like, we've been there, and like, those comments just didn't help grow our game. Like, we're in a position in Australia where I don't think anyone else in world rugby has the same sort of competition for footy like we do with rugby league, and how big it is there with AFL. And comments like that about the Lions don't help how big we're trying to drive that series to be. Like, we want to talk that series up, and hopefully, a few good performances up here can really drive how good it's going to be. And, under no illusion, I think the stadium's going to be full of red in Australia, and so it should be. They'll travel out.
The tickets have gone mental, I think.
They have gone mental, and it's going to be an incredible series. And, like I said, we've done a lot of hard work to get to the point where we got a win on the weekend by fine margins. Still a lot of hard work to go. But, we don't need comments like that to jam it down our throat. No. We'll continue to head down, bum up, like I'm sure Wales are going to do. And, the tides will change. They always do.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the man of the moment. I guess obviously had his debut on the weekend, Joseph Suaalii. What a find he is, considering that's a steal, is it, from rugby league, I guess you could say?
A steal, yeah.
Or is it something, I guess it's been passed on in terms of, is it a bit of a publicity, something in terms of getting him over, trying to get the Lions build up, but did he really?
No, I don't think so. I think And there's a lot of chat back home at the moment about, like rugby league players come across to rugby, you know, like them saying that, heaps of them could come across. They couldn't. They couldn't all come across and do what Joseph did. Joseph did what he did on the weekend because he grew up playing rugby. So that's the difference is, he came through playing rugby league and rugby union growing up, went to a rugby school in King's College, a really good one, and then went from rugby to league because they've got a heap of cash.
So his background is union.
His
and
background
then
is
league,
union,
right, okay.
yeah. So, the reason he picked it up so quickly on the weekends is because he's got a rugby background. You can't just pluck a rugby league player and throw him in and expect to, would they be good? Yeah. There's some athletes playing rugby league back home. Man, proper athletes. Like, I love rugby league. But just the nuances, like you have a look at Joe's game. Like there's the high ball stuff that's incredible. All those. Check out his work on the ground, man. When he went back and locked down a breakdown.
I thought it was defense, mate. Ollie Lawrence, bro, running into him. He usually makes yards. He wasn't moving.
Yeah. And those parts, like I think a rugby league player could pick up pretty quickly. But it's the breakdown stuff that really impressed me. Like, his groundwork on the ground, his ability to get back and lock down a breakdown after we received a high ball. I was like, man, like you couldn't, like most rugby league blokes would be standing up tall just having a look at that. He was, body low, locked it down, like instinct. Like, and that's a bloke who grew up playing rugby. So, yeah, I was like, probably
surprised
not. Probably not. Like just because I was lucky enough to, like the other boys in camp to see what he did in the 2 weeks leading up. Like, man, he was pretty immediate. You were like, oh, gee whiz.
He's got an aura around him, isn't he? Walking around barefoot, he's confident, isn't he?
Aura? Man, anyone that big's got an aura, yeah. So he's a big man.
He is big.
I know he's not big to you. You're big too, Cussy, but like,
cheers.
You know what I mean? I look at everyone in rugby and they're big, but like, and you're like, far out, you're 21.
Like 13 is probably one of the hardest positions as well, defensively, to learn and get, for someone that hasn't played, to put a shift in. I don't know what you guys thought press-wise of him watching it.
Well, we were all in the press box. I was at the game at Twickenham and we were all really excited to see him play. 'Cause up here, like, obviously we haven't seen him play. We haven't seen much of Aussie Rugby League. But there was the one when he came on and he got round Ollie Slight home to set up the try for the first one with Tom Wright, wasn't it? Tom Wright.
Yep.
And the way he just kind of got on the outside just made it look so effortless. And everyone was like, whoa. And it's the way, the stuff in the air. And there was one moment as well where he jumped in the air, sort of pivoted. I think it's been on TikTok and Instagram and stuff.
A little flick. But,
just like unbelievable athleticism. And I just think like, if he's done that in one game and he's how many weeks has he had in camp? 2, 3?
Oh, it'd be his third, but yeah. Yep.
I mean, how much better is he going to get? If he's had 3 weeks, it's scary. So I just think like he looks an unreal player, and I just think like the best thing I think about the Australia-England game was you touched on the Lions there. How good is that going to be now? Because everyone's thinking, what can Australia do in the next year or 6 months to get even better, improve? We know up here how good his coach Joe Schmidt is.
Yeah.
Like another 6 months or so, I think it's going to be awesome for you guys. Yeah. What's he been like, Joe?
He's pretty quiet. Oh, which Joe?
Oh, sorry, Joe Schmidt.
No, he's not. He's not that
both,
quiet.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, Joe's been unreal. Like, I think I know that you talk to everyone who's had him before. His attention to detail, the small things. So like he's starting to reap a little bit of those rewards. I think. He's also like getting the benefits of certain guys off the back of I think what Dave Rennie did with a lot of guys and picking up from like you look at Lenny on the weekend. So he's put a whole lot of detail in around groundwork, breakdown, all these sorts of things around the ball. And then on top of that, some of the things that Dave Rennie did for a number of years are starting to come to show as well. So it's not just a process of I think what Joe's done in this short period, but we're starting to see the rewards of what Dave did for a number of years. We had a little blip, which we won't talk about, and then Joe come in and has kind of picked up where that left off in terms of the detail around our game, and we're really starting to see the benefits of that, and some guys starting to get into the mature age of their footy. We've got a lot of 25, 26, 27-year-olds now with a fair bit of experience, not a heap of experience, but enough to start to, when you start to feel comfortable in the game early, probably like first 20, 30 games in national footy, you don't really feel, you're still finding your feet, and then it kind of clicks. And I feel like we're starting to get guys like what Tom Wright's starting to do, what Lenny Ikitau's starting
He's
to do.
still playing, mate. That Tom Wright.
Mate,
The
phenomenal.
amount of players he beats, just even in his own, constantly, isn't it? Every game I've watched him.
He's a jack in the box.
Isn't he?
Yeah, and he's like that every day. Try training against him. Gee whiz, you stay on your toes. So we've got a number of guys like that Dave brought through, and Joe's really his expectations, maybe standards, sorry, and attention to detail is really making a difference to what the boys, because we've probably been a little bit too loose, through that kind of Eddie period. And we're going back to a really detailed side and really have a badge of honour in looking after the ball, in making good decisions and staying in whatever system it is. And we've gotten to a point, but there's still a long way to go to catch these sides out of us.
Yeah.
But it's good. Joe's awesome. Like I said, he's also infectious. His attitude, like when he comes in and he wants it. Even for a guy his age to still wake up and. That's infectious.
Yeah.
It's a good feel, but we also won, and things are good when you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, is he similar to the A Train down in Exeter?
No, not as bad. He does have, he can go. Like Joe's shown a couple of touches.
Not as
where,
bad as Ali's though.
No.
Do you miss the last couple of years when I was there? Some of the team talks that we had on the A Train. I'll tell you after, they were nuts. He would lose it.
Yeah, and he was good. And a lot of our success came off the back of Ali and Ali
Heifer. This is
Ali Heifer and Joe's similar in those regards. That even this week after a win like that, to not be complacent, Joe kind of put everyone back in their place yesterday to make sure we're well aware of the how desperate Wales will be, the ambush that's coming, and Ali did that for a number of years. It's a thankless task, to be honest. To be that guy that keeps everyone accountable, and to say the things that a lot don't want to say and a lot of people don't want to hear. Joe certainly has no. He says he does it in a different way to A Train in terms of probably a little more passive aggressive, and but there has been times in training definitely where Joe said, "Look, I asked your permission day one to give it to you honest, and sometimes not how you want to hear it, and training sometimes you get it." Yeah,
sometimes
mate.
You need that though, don't you?
I've got a couple.
That,
Jake Gordon got one. There's been times where and it's coming and it comes and you're like,
Sean Edwards was like
It's
that.
probably still quite calm though, isn't it, compared to Eddie?
No, to be fair, Eddie wasn't too bad because we didn't really have a system or structure under Eddie, so there wasn't really much to blame. But if you go outside a system, and I think you need to know it and you need to hear it straight away. Like if you've, because sometimes there's certainly times when you're like, I've made a bad decision here. But sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And, working under a new coach, and he's very quick to let you know, Joe.
Yeah.
And I think he's been very sympathetic in that it's been new, but the more we've been with him, the more unrelenting he is. Like, no, you know this now. So if you get it wrong, I'm coming. You get it wrong, I'm coming. And we've seen a little bit of that. But to be fair, we did a drill yesterday, and a week ago we did this drill. And man, he gave it to us. He's like, you guys can go down and run around the post. You come back, you're wasting my time. Or, you know what I mean? We were terrible at this drill at the Lensbury. And then we got it done yesterday and we nailed it. And he's like, it's no fun. He's like, you're too good at it. I can't get into you. So, he's...
He calls people out there, doesn't he? If you don't know your role. So I remember Robin Copeland, remember? So we had this guy called Robin Copeland at Cardiff, and he signed for Munster, wanted to play for Ireland, went to the Irish squad, and he was a hell of a player, but he was quite lazy sort of off-field in terms of knowing his role. So we jumped in this Irish team, and he was obviously playing number 8 and didn't run a right role. He used to get bollockings from Joe in terms of, mate, if you don't know your role, you can fuck off back to you. And then he never played for Ireland.
Yeah. No, we have boys have been pretty good around knowing their role, but you can definitely see if you get it wrong, whoa.
That fear factor. It's not fear, is it?
You just want to do what's right for the team. We talk about trust, building trust within the side, and then that starts with knowing your job. But it's Mate,
He's the right man. I think he's the right man for you boys.
Yeah, like I said, his attention to detail, we need it. Like I said, his enthusiasm to want to get those right first and foremost.
Yeah.
Even just around all his coaching and the way he does, to set guys up to succeed in knowing their role and doing what's best for the team. All that is, mate, it's unreal. So, look, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying him. Kind of, he's.
As long as he keeps the old boy within the squad for next year, it'd be good to see him on that Lions tour. We'll have a little quick review of the Wales-Fiji game out. I think obviously disappointing result, wasn't it, really? I was pretty excited all week with that squad. I thought we would have enough to win the game. We've always spoke about it, 10 defeats in a row now for Wales rugby. You know, what are we, like 12th in the world now? We're tier 3, so even World Cup draws and stuff are looking tough as well, isn't it? I think if we're going on that path. What needs to change, mate? Like, will there be any changes this weekend, do you reckon?
In terms of the team?
Yeah, do you think there'd be much?
Well, Mason Grady is out, so that's going to have to be one change on the wing.
Yeah.
He obviously had an ankle injury against Fiji, which needs surgery, so there'll have to be a change there. So maybe Rio Dyer. I don't see them making, other than that, massive wholesale changes. We know that Welsh rugby's struggling in terms of depth now. In terms of,
I quite like the squad, though. I thought we had a bit of depth in that Welsh squad, though.
Well, it's definitely better than it was in the summer series, and I think in the Six Nations. But I don't see that there's 5-6 players that are outside the 15 that started last week. They're going to be pushing really hard to come in. I don't see them making massive changes. I thought they were actually pretty good first 15, 20. They moved the ball quite well. The opening try was good, and then the Cam Winnett try, which was ruled out, was a decent try as well. I just think confidence is such a big thing for the players at the moment. Like, as soon as it got to that sort of, I think when Muntz kicked the penalty to put them ahead, it was roughly about 55 minutes, and you felt it. I think you felt it around the stadium as well. Like, it was like, oh, they're ahead now, and then you could feel like on the pitch, everyone in the stands was like, oh God, it's kind of happening again. And then everything sort of closed in, and it just felt it was really difficult for the players. When the ball went down the left, Ben Thomas dropped it, and Warren Gatlin in the coaching box was like this, which you never really see from him. He's normally quite
this is what I'm saying,
calm in the coaching box.
I think the pressure's come within, though, isn't it? Usually when you go out, you want to just go out and enjoy, execute what you. I feel like maybe the coaches are obviously probably feeling a little bit under the pressure. Yeah. Do you think that's probably coming across then onto the boys? I don't know. Your experience with that, obviously with Australia, and Eddie Jones was a bit like that, wasn't it? I guess.
Yeah, man, you can feel that, eh?
Yeah.
Like, there's no hiding from that. If the gaff's under a bit of pressure, it leaks through. Like, it's
impossible not to, is it?
Yeah.
And then it does affect, and then
yeah. Well, it was interesting, obviously, from my side of the fence of what I do, working in the media, that in the press conference afterwards, Warren Gatlin said, the pressure comes from the media. Yeah, and he said you can write what you want about my position. Now,
was he on about writing the narrative, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he said we the media control the narrative that around sort of the pressure that he's under. But ultimately, if you lose 10 games in a row in any sport, I've sort of,
that's your narrative there.
Well, yeah, it's like it's 27% win record since he's returned. So I think, sort of from my experience working in sport on the media side of things, as soon as that sort of that sort of criticism of the media biting back, it seems, from my experience, that sort of feels like it's beginning to unravel a little bit. Like,
right.
I've worked as a football journalist in the past. Obviously now I just do rugby, and that's a very different hiring and firing culture. And thankfully we don't have that in rugby. But from my experience, when coaches are having a pop back at the media, we saw that with Eddie quite a lot, who's a different character to Warren, but it starts to feel sort of a little bit like the beginning of the end to me.
And do you think he's under that? You think the weekend could be something like where that? I'm not saying it's going to be his last games. I just don't think they're going to get rid of him, especially financial reasons.
I don't think that any decision on his future will be made this autumn. But the problem is Fiji was really a must-win. Australia are coming this weekend on the back of a really good win, full of confidence. South Africa, you never know, but it's going to be a pretty tough ask to beat them. Then you got France in the Six Nations opening night on a Friday night. That's going to be pretty tough. And then Italy away. So the more these defeats stack up, the tougher it gets. And you sort of alluded to things that impact a losing run. You've got TV and sponsorship revenue. Are people going to keep buying tickets to go and watch the games? Prize money in the Six Nations is dependent on where you finish. We all know the financial challenges the Welsh Rugby Union's got. So it's not just a losing run on the field. It has impacts all over the business as well.
Well, that's why I'm saying probably the pressure really is on the WRU, isn't it? In theory, in terms of making a decision, I guess. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think, I just don't think he helped himself with this, a 6-2 split against Fiji. I don't think usually your toughest sort of matchups there are you in the backs, aren't they, really? In past experiences. But
can't talk too much to what coaches. I find, what are they all trying to outdo Rassie, are they? 7-1s and 6-2s.
I just think, I think the 6-2 had logic.
Yeah.
To a degree. And hindsight's obviously very good, but
you just don't know what style they wanted to play against Fiji.
No, but to have Sam Costello as a 10 on the wing for such a long period of time was just far from ideal. And obviously, I don't know if you want to go into this, but the admittance that the wrong player came on was pretty sort of amateur hour, really.
Yeah, it's not great, is on that side.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed crystal clear that the plan was that if they lost a winger, it wouldn't have been ideal. That was the gamble, wasn't it? But the plan apparently was that Ellis Bevan, a scrum half, would come on to cover wing, even though that's not ideal, but that was the gamble they took.
We can play wing, mate.
Yeah.
We're nines, we can play wing.
Yeah, yeah, but that was the point.
I'm
The 10 came on. But if you watch it back and you look at I watched the game back, obviously, for sort of a bit of analysis or whatever, but when you watch it back, it seems quite clear that everyone's expecting Ellis Bevan to come on and Sam Costello appears.
Just runs on.
Yeah, and as he runs on...
Fair play to him.
Yeah, just keen for that.
I'll go.
Yeah. After a match fee, was he?
Fair play, he stood up.
But when he runs on, Alex, and he's kind of looking at everyone else going like this.
Yeah.
What's going on? And Gareth Anscombe, who's obviously playing at 10, is kind of looking at him going...
What are you doing?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
I just think, I just don't really understand how that can happen. And I think it's a bit of symptomatic, really, of
Well, they
where
just weren't all on the same page, were they? At the end they've obviously spoken to Ellis. I think Gass has come out and said that, hasn't he? In terms of, they spoke to him about him going on.
Yeah.
But they obviously haven't spoken to Sam about, you aren't going on, you're only going on if, say, one of the 10s get injured and so forth. But I did think there was a couple of green shoots in terms of, I thought Max Llewellyn played well at 13. He ran that good line. They just didn't vary their game a little bit. They just kept going to that same sort of play, didn't they? And I think Fiji in the end defended it quite well. But Blair Murray, scoring the first try on debut is pretty good. But it was just far and few between, really, wasn't it, in terms of green shoots? Really?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think they seem to use Mason Grady quite a lot with that sort of round the corner play. Obviously, he's a big physical ball carrier, so I think he's going to be a bit of a loss. Obviously, he's now having ankle surgery, so he's not going to be playing for it.
No, he's not. No.
So, who comes in there? Maybe Rio Dyer, who's obviously a different player in terms of physically. That he's not the same sort of carrier. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. If they have Winnett, Blair Murray and Rio, that's quite a small back three, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well, so...
And Australia have got a few boys who are pretty good in the air, to be fair.
Yeah.
Joshua Tualis. So,
yeah.
Obviously we'll look forward to the game now on the weekend, Wales, Australia. If you're on Dragon Bet odds at the moment, currently, Nick, we can't speak about this with you. Wales win is 7-4, Australia win 1-2. So... They're giving Australia a 3.5 handicap, essentially. So Australia are pretty much favourites to win the game. All these specials are on dragonbet.co.uk, by the way. So, home of Wales betting. So get involved there. I think, there's a bit of value in there. I do think Wales will be better this weekend. I really do. I think chatting to Gareth Anscombe, and he thought it was a game where they probably just a little bit rusty in certain areas, a little touch-ups on quite a few areas, and I think they will be as a better squad. Obviously, we spoke about Mason Grady being injured, looking likely, so Tommy Rogers or Rio Dyer looking like there. Nick, I was just thinking, chatting about, do you boys chat about a few of the Welsh boys ahead of the week in terms of like who to sort of, I say, go after, you know, certain breakdowns? Because obviously Wales got a pretty good back row, like I said, Tommy Raphael, Jack Morgan. Is that sort of areas, do you speak about that in the week?
Yeah, we spoke about, obviously we had them in your summer, our winter, those July series, and just the number of guys that have come back in, like a Jack Morgan, and how much impact he's going to have on the breakdown.
Yeah, Thomas and Gareth, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. The combination out of Gloucester that, you know, like, so we've spoken about a fair few of those, that it's going to be a very different side. You know, we believe a better side than what we came up against. So look, they've blown some rust out from the weekend. And like we said, we're, you know, like a hell of a lot of respect for Wales, how tough they've been. Like I was talking to Cuthie on the way in, like they're a side that just always stay in it. Like they're a bloody tough team. You know, you hear the ultimate compliment from like the Saffers. Like the South Africans always say how tough the Welsh are, and it's, mate, we all feel it. Like they're just very good side, but just absolute scrappers that just stay in everything. And you know, you bring in, you know, a few guys on board like that, and you know, it's going to be, you know, Raphael, Morgan, you know, Dewey Lake. You put these guys, they're going to be on the ball, and it's going to be really hard to kind of replicate what we did against England with guys dipping their heads in breakdowns and making it an absolute mess. So yeah, we've spoken about a couple of key guys for them that that are going to make life real tough for us. So up to us now to train it. And you know, there's nothing better than being in the non-23 and having to duck your head over a breakdown to get belted or to prep the boys.
Yeah,
that's not me.
Love that.
That's
I've
not me.
seen your head in a
I'm
few
not
of
putting
them.
my head over a breakdown. But no, that's the key. But yeah, look, we haven't spoken about any, you know, what you were saying, like weaknesses, but actually guys that we think that are going to make life real hard for us.
I guess you guys are probably be thinking, probably like, because your attack on the weekend I thought was unbelievable in terms of how good you were through the tackle. You earned the right to offload an awful lot. Is that sort of similar, I guess? Joe wants you guys to go on the weekend, really, just be physical in the
Yeah, continue to
defence, maybe tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a bit in defence. We'll work on this week, and yeah, definitely around that attack. Yeah, we talk it. Joe says it every week. That you got to earn the right every week. So we've got to, you know, earn the right to get what we got last week in terms of, you know, people following us and whatnot, and you know, to give our fans what we want, and we've got to earn the right, and that starts on Monday. And like I said, he gave us a good one around the ears to make sure that we, you know, are well reminded that it starts again, and of what's coming this weekend with the guys we spoke about, with, you know, them being in a place that we certainly feel, and you know how hard that can be and how desperate they're gonna be, and like you said, we put out a good game of rugby on the weekend. But we've got to go out and earn that again. So look, we'll want to play like that, but first and foremost, it comes around that breakdown.
Yeah.
The physicality around that ball carry first, the breakdown. If we can get clean ball, by all means, we'll use it, and we'll use it well, but you know, we won't be going out there just trying to throw it willy-nilly. We'll earn that right first.
I think one of the things, like, I was at the game with England, and like the back play was fantastic, but like some of the forwards were unbelievable, weren't they? Like Bell, Valtini.
Yeah.
They're carrying Harry Wilson.
Yeah.
Blimey, they're like carrying, I think, against, you know, a big English pack was seriously impressive, I think. You know, I thought that was a big factor in, you know, Valtini was taking names, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
He's a big man, he is, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and Angus Bell was too, like the two of them. You know,
he's an athlete for Lucid, isn't he?
He is, yeah, he's a big man. And,
big man?
Yeah. And no, they're enjoying their footy, but again, like they know that there's going to be a lot of guys in this Welsh pack that come after them, and are going to make sure that they don't have as fun a week as what you did last week. And we certainly know that you can fly under the radar for a while, and you have a game like last week, and you know, it gets thrown around, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of those sort of guys, buddy heads plastered around the Welsh dressing rooms with targets on them, and yeah, we'll prepare for the absolute worst, and like I said, go out there and make sure we earn it again, because winning sheds are good, but we were this close off being the you know, on the other end of that.
Yeah.
What do you think Wales need to do differently to stay in the game? Do you think they need to score tries, don't they? And then the day, Australia are going to score tries, aren't they? So you're going to have to score at least 25 points, aren't you, I think?
Yeah.
That's what it seems to be, in there with the new rules and the way the game's going, isn't it? It's good. I think it's good to watch.
I think that was the best thing sort of Nick said about how good the game was between England and Australia. It was a fantastic advert for the sport. Maybe just a bit more variety from the Welsh attack. I feel like it can be like a little bit predictable. I'm sure Australia will have looked at the way they're doing things. I quite like Ben Thomas at 12. Like, he did really well for the first try with his hands.
Yeah.
I just think, you need to be scoring probably 3 tries to be winning test matches these days.
Yeah.
And I just think maybe we need to see a bit more from the Wales attack. I mean, you boys are far more qualified than me to talk about exactly what they can do to change that up. But I just think it has been a bit predictable.
I think we have, though, the last 18 months, haven't we? I think in terms of, obviously, it is personnel at the end of the day, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Obviously, Rob Howley's come in now, isn't he, to be the backs coach. Whether he's, I think he'll be under a lot of pressure this week. I think Warren will probably put that pressure on him. So I guess it'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it, in terms of, like, Gecko's right, really. Nick is right in terms of Wales will come out flying on the weekend, wouldn't they? They will want to take, they want to put a marker down, especially I think they would have hurt after that Fiji loss, chatting to a lot of them.
I think if they start, they had a decent start to the game.
Yeah.
And if that win-it try hadn't have been ruled out, it would have been 14-3, I think, off the top of my head.
Game then, isn't it?
Yeah. So if they can start well, use the crowd, obviously it's under the roof, it's going to be another good atmosphere. I thought the crowd was actually pretty good for the Fiji game, 60-odd thousand.
Yeah, I think there's still tickets available as well.
Despite the fact that, obviously Welsh rugby's on a losing run. So the other thing as well is like a 4 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Sunday roast and then off to the game.
Yeah. What will you do as players? It's bit of a long, well, I suppose there's longer waits, but...
mate, this is a short wait for us. 4 o'clock.
Because you're used to playing evening games.
7:45 kickoff at night. So, look, it's good for us. We really enjoy being able to get up and, like, for me, I experienced it up here, 3 o'clock kickoffs are awesome. But we don't get many of them back home because TV
They want night games.
Yeah, they want night games, which is it's not actually great for footy. You want the arvo footy, be able to throw it around. Once you get into the night, it gets a bit dewy and things like that. So look, it's short for us. 4 p.m. will feel great.
Yeah,
but the roof's closed from what I hear, which is awesome
so
as well.
suit the way you want to play. I guess.
I just think it's good for rugby, right? And be able to throw it around. But going back to what you guys were talking about, I think the Welsh will have a fair bit of confidence after, there was certainly some close games down in Australia, real close. We didn't win those games by big margins, and there were lots of points, and they scored lots of points in those games. Mm-hmm. So they're not far off, and it'll certainly, they'll...
The other thing, I guess, Kathy, is the driving maul. Like, it went really well in the July games down under. There was some promising signs that it could still have some joy, so maybe that's, an area that can provide some sort of attacking
I think so.
Joy.
They went away from it a little bit in the Fiji. I thought they were going quite well, weren't they? And I know they got pinged a few times, didn't they?
There was that one for the split, yeah.
I want to ask you, Nick, quickly on these new rules, with the glove system. Do you think it's opening the game up a little bit more, or it's definitely tougher to have that, the glove? What they do is they call it a glove, behind the receiver, isn't it? Yeah. It's a lot tougher.
With the glove, teams were getting so good, it made it impossible for wingers to get through, or anyone really, to get through and contest the ball. So, like, I like the thought process of I want to see contests in the air. I think everybody wants to see good contests in the air. You want to see
you do with Saili in your team.
You're right.
Israel Folau will be killing it now.
Yeah, exactly. Any other leagues want to come across?
Yeah, exactly.
Get some high ball experts across. Maybe search into the AFL, but. No, what it has done as well, like on the weekend, is it's creating this contest that then the ball spills and then it just becomes unstructured and the ball gets ripped out, and it actually is opening the game up a bit, which I quite enjoy. Like, immediately I kind of thought, well, hold on, now teams are just going to kick contestables a lot, like too much.
Yeah, to try to get a penalty, I guess.
Yeah, but like now we're seeing contestables with the ball being kind of spilt and thrown out straight away. So obviously you get a couple where, the team catches and, they'll go into, everyone knows what they're doing off a contestable kick. But, like England got a number of those ones back on the weekend. Bang, you rip it, it's unstructured, the game opens up, and all of a sudden now the defence is, scattered. So I do think it's good, just purely off the basis of I think it's pretty cool seeing the athleticism of, the the superstars we have in the game, like Tommy Freeman in the air. Like everyone wants to see him come up against whoever it is. Like like you want to see.
It's definitely opened it up, isn't it? It seems way more.
Yeah, the referees seemed quite hot on it. Like watching the Ireland New Zealand game, like almost straight away wasn't. I don't know if you watched it, but it's almost straight away like the All Blacks were pinged for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like because we've been coached for so long to glove. Like talking to the boys, like you kind of naturally go back and you're like, oh, actually, I've got to get out of the way here.
Yeah.
What's interesting is they're going to have to just be careful around, and it's going to evolve. But I saw a couple on the weekend of like wingers J-lining in.
Yeah.
Like at what point around the catcher is access? Like so. Like is it the front door? Is it the side door? Like because you got to be there. If Cuthie catches it, and I'm coming back, can I stand next to him, and then be there as soon as he catches it to lock that breakdown down? But now wingers coming around and J-lining in. And then I saw one on the weekend, he pushed the bloke and he got done. It's like, well, hold on. Well,
are you as players like clear on that though, or is there still a little bit like
I think everybody's going to, like I said, it's going to evolve. It's only been in for a week. But it seems like any high ball that's caught is very because everybody's trying to get so far out of the way. But, like it'll evolve, but I think it's a great rule. I'd love to see the rule that was kind of played in the rugby championship.
Yeah.
Of what's called the protection of the nine. It's not really protecting us, but what it is it's just off scrum attack.
Yeah. Just let the nine pass.
Let the nine, you know what I mean? Like the nine can't, and I was the beneficiary of this rule for a long time, like feed the ball, there's a good steady scrum. There's 16 blokes working their guts out to give the game what it deserves, some clean ball, and then bang, foot goes up, whack it down. Messy, ugly.
Yeah.
Like I just think 9 can't go past the halfway point, and let's see some scrum plays. Let's see some 8, 9. And it just will open the game up. But there's too many.
It's guaranteed try though in the 22.
Yeah, just about.
Really, and it's pretty much like a free.
It is.
It's so hard to defend off that close to the line, isn't it? And if you've got no pressure on 9, that's the only thing I'd say about it. But maybe you're allowed to put pressure on 9 at that area, but no.
You're right. Yeah.
Well,
I kind of think. Like at that point, they just closed that hard.
Yeah.
It still is hard because you don't have to look after backfield as much.
No.
So you just fly, but it does just cleans up the game. Like the amount of breakdowns you go to, and like we're trying to clean the game up and give people a game that they want to watch. And you go to a breakdown, all it takes is someone. Oh, apparently he's got a hand free. Grab your arm, knock on. All right, let's slow the game down for a scrum. And you're like, why is that allowed? Like that's just silly. Or a maul that you can climb up the side and just about to get it out, and the bloke's like not offside and he can grab you, and you're like, let's just get rid of that. Like it's a pretty simple one. Clean the game up, just to not to protect the 9, but just to get the ball moving a little bit more in a game that's so heavily rewarded to the defence at the moment.
Do you think a lot of refs would give scrums just more free kicks, so then you have to go kick? Do you know what I mean? So give less penalties, speeds the game up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anything that improves the product, isn't it? Like we all know the games. We all know the games. Struggling, like Nick talked about in Australia, the competition from other sports. Anything that I think that can make the game
just a little bit more fluid, clean it up, better.
We'll have 42, 37 or whatever it was every week. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
That would bring a lot more people back.
That was a good game on the weekend. The ball in play was 39 minutes, which is good, and that's what you want. And with these kind of rule changes, that will keep the ball in play a little bit longer.
Yeah. You want if you can get over 40 minutes ball and play.
Yeah,
that'd be a good product to really work with.
You won't see too many 6-2s then.
No,
because that's a back.
That's
if it gets over 40.
That's the only problem, isn't it? If you watch French rugby, it's like 30 minutes ball and play.
Yeah, South Africans.
We've got a couple of questions from socials for yourself, Nick. A couple of ones I probably can't repeat. Couple of mates from Australia, I think, have jumped on.
Yep.
First one, why is your nickname the Gecko?
So first week down at Exeter, Johnny Hill gave me the nickname Gecko. We're doing beach sprints, and
just imagine,
Yeah, so it's kind of just repeat sprints up and down, and like to be fair, I was just trying to make a name for myself. You're at a new club, you got to go hard and impress the boys and the coaches, and I went balls out right from the start, and I'm miles ahead of all the other guys, and these bowed legs are just sprinting up these sand dunes up and down. Anyway, it happened to be the same time the documentary Planet was coming out, David Attenborough, And there's that like kind of gecko. It's actually not a gecko, but like for the story, we'll go with a gecko. It's like a lizard that's like running through this beach, and all these snakes are coming after him. Anyway, Johnny Hill put up that night, gecko running away from everyone else in the team, and he put a heap of little heads. I think he put all the other nines on the snakes chasing me, and I'm just like bolting ahead. So that's how it stuck as gecko. I actually don't get it back in Australia.
Do you not?
No. I pushed for it with a couple of boys when I got back. I said, and they're like, "What's your nickname?" And I was like, because we've got Whitey in the team and Whitey, we still get.
Do you just get called Whitey then?
Whitey, yeah. And I was like, actually, the boys in Exeter called me Gecko. And they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. I was like, it's not a compliment.
I quite like the Gecko.
It's just shot at me legs. But no, I don't get it at home nearly as much. Aussies, we just go with last name and O or Y on the end.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It'd be Cuthy.
Yeah, I've got loads of nicknames.
Yeah.
Obviously, on camera on YouTube, if Nick stood up, he's got more bowed legs than Liam Williams.
No.
Or is his worse?
No, Liam's got me.
Has he?
Yeah, sure. You reckon it's close?
Don't know. You wouldn't want him catching your dog. He goes straight through your legs.
In the summer series, like in our July games, you obviously got a lot of guys that like young, haven't played much international footy, and I was like, boys, you wait till you see this bloke, Liam Williams.
Yeah.
They're like, what about him? I was like, mate, he's got worse legs than me. And they're like, not possible. I was like, you wait. It'd be close. I reckon, it's me or him or Tawera Kobalo.
Oh, yeah, he's
got bowies as well. Yep.
So fair play. Helps, I guess. Another question. I don't know. It looks funny on telly anyway. Yeah. Another question. This is a bit of an odd one. Rat coffin, maggot bag, or pasty? Which is the least preferred snack, and why is it the pasty? Do you get that?
No, I don't know what the other two are. A pasty, obviously, from Cornwall.
Yeah, I guess it's just the English slang for pasties, is it?
Yeah.
It's probably Knowlesy asking this question.
Yeah, probably Knowlesy. I actually didn't dip into the pasties that much.
No.
When I was down there, did you? No.
Not really, no.
Nah,
are you cream than jam, or are you jam than cream as well? That's another question.
It's just funny. We're actually talking about this in camp with Aussie boys. So back home, it's not clotted cream. So we just lazy Aussies. We're using whipped cream down there.
Oh no!
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Well, we don't have clotted cream. We just got butter,
right,
or whipped cream. So like, if you have a scone back home, it's just scone, jam, very unhealthy. So, mind you, we don't. I would say like very most guys wouldn't even just have scones. Like it's just not something you do. But then I got to Exeter and I was like, gee whiz, these are good. I did have a lot of scones over there. And, mate.
Oh, was that coffee shop?
Yeah. No, I'd definitely go cream first.
Yeah, I think I'm cream and jam.
Yeah, cream and then jam on top.
Yeah. Definitely cream and jam.
Yeah.
But the whippy stuff is like a crime.
Yeah. It was always like it's a Cornish way or a Devonian way.
Oh, right.
Of like
That's
cream
the
first or jam.
difference,
Yeah, and everyone, which way? And I was like, to be fair, I sat on the fence up until now. I was like,
you didn't say the Aussie way is.
Yeah, I wouldn't go, just put cream all over it.
The other one, best place to tour and why? You've obviously got a number of tours now.
Yeah, best place to tour and why? Oh, look. Notoriously, we've always finished in Cardiff, and that was always pretty good just because it's the end of the year.
Oh, we'd always see you boys out,
celebrating as well. It's a good way to finish a tour. But probably Edinburgh and Murrayfield is pretty special. I've got my old man over here just for this tour, just on the back of. I was like, mate, you got to come to Edinburgh and get to Murrayfield. Like it's pretty special, that place, and just something about it. Feels like you're in a Harry Potter movie or something, walk around all week. It's
a bit different to Australia, Edinburgh.
Oh, mate, it's so different to Australia. Like, our cities are so young. Like,
it's bloody cold as well.
Walk around London the other day, there's bloody pavers that are older than our country. So, it's pretty special being over here.
Yeah, I always enjoy Murrayfield away. It's always a good night down there in George Street as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last one. Yeah, there's a few stories on that street. Who is the craziest teammate you have ever played with? I probably have a good guess of who, but go on. Because there's a couple of Aussie boys who are pretty wild, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a couple of Aussie blokes that are pretty out there. Who jumped straight to mind? Like, first person I thought of, Luke Cowan-Dickey.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. He was kind of like our pitman, right? Like, he could easily go missing for a week and come back
a few times.
And come back and play his best rugby. And Yeah, he was
Character, isn't
he?
he?
He was an absolute character, phenomenal footy player, still is, and yeah, just like the Monday to the Friday, the nights out, like everything was just you don't know what you're going to get. He kept everybody on their toes.
There's only Dave Ewers that could control him, wasn't it? Down there,
Literally,
pretty much.
literally, a few beers deep, it'd be get away from Dickie, and where's Dave? Dave.
The Buffalo, where is he? We need him. Control this bloke.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. It's good to see him back play for England as well. Lads, that's it. Thanks very much, Nick, for joining us. I appreciate it. I know it's your day off and I've dragged you out, but I appreciate it, mate. Top man. Alex, as always, unbelievable. And
Thank you.
hopefully you get to write some good news over the weekend after a good result against Australia. But we will see. Nick's not going to drop us a line and say if you're starting or not. No? Involved, maybe?
No. Can't say.
We'll see.
Can't say. Actually, I haven't known the team yet, so.
Okay, fair enough.
Joe likes to keep us on our toes.
Good, yeah, of course. All right, well, all the best for that. Well, thanks for coming on, lads. I appreciate that. And that is the end of Sportin Wales podcast, sponsored by DragonBet. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Sportin Wales podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on all socials for all things Sportin Wales.
Sportin Wales podcast,
Supported by DragonBet.
your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.